here, and this is the Just Another Cheesehead podcast. Welcome. You guys can call me Lem. I'm here to do a reaction video, and I'd like to start pounding out some of these videos slash podcasts as we lead up to the draft and as we get closer to the season. We're not just here to make claims, we're here to back up our claims. We're not here to just make claims and find things to confirm our bias, because I am biased, and I do believe that there's a such thing called confirmation bias. I talked about that on another video. I don't believe I'm confirming my bias here. It's because when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, I've had an approach where you just have to prove it to me. I've always been that way. I mentioned that in the last podcast that Brett Favre, when he retired, I did not like Aaron Rodgers. I didn't know who this kid was. Bump him. What are you doing? Why are we trying to get rid of Brett Favre for this rookie who's unproven? He's not going to be a Hall of Famer, and Aaron Rodgers proved me wrong delightfully. And I'm a huge Aaron Rodgers fan, and I think when you play sports, that's how it should be. It's about being competitive. It's about competing and proving yourself. And you can prove yourself at the highest level. So I was definitely not biased towards Aaron Rodgers. So he had to prove to me that he was going to be a great replacement for our team at the time, and he did that. So today, I just want to share with you some of the information that I use to bolster my argument, to verify what I'm saying to be accurate. And what better way of doing that than just going to some professionals, people who played the game, people who analyze the game. As I can basically say that I'm just a glorified fan. I have no credentials to vouch for myself in any way, shape, or form. That's why this is called Just Another Cheesehead podcast. I am not special in any way. I'm just a guy with an opinion. I'm a Packer fan with an opinion. And I love my team. I love Aaron Rodgers. I love the great players who played for us. Charles Woodson, Jordan Nelson, Aaron Rodgers, Clay Matthews, Brett Favre, Reggie White. I mean, we can go on and on and on. And I have a lot of respect for those players. And I have a lot of respect for the great coaches like Mike Holmgren we had. And, I guess you got to throw in Mike McCarthy. He did win us a championship. And Aaron Rodgers seemed to love him a lot. And then, of course, like our offensive coordinators, Joe Philbin and many others. So I have respect for those men. They were in the trenches. They won games for us. They drew up the schemes. And I appreciate that. But again, like what I'm trying to say is I'm here to show validity to what I believe to be true. And we're going to just give a live reaction to someone that I watch quite a bit to get my football information from. There's several YouTube creators that I think need more attention. They bring a lot of great quality content. And today we're going to go to the QB school. We are going to the QB school. He's an ex-NFL quarterback. And his channel is called the QB School. So he's got 191 subscribers, 191,000 subscribers, about 1,000 videos, probably plus. And let's just go through his description here. He's been around since 2018, has over 16 million views, but I believe he needs more. The QB School's goal is to provide the highest level of football analysis available anywhere. The site is made for fans, players, and coaches. The QB School is unique because it provides an in-depth analysis directly from the former NFL QB that play for more NFL offense than any other QB in NFL history. 11 organizations. So, I mean, in my opinion, this guy seems to know what he's talking about. I've been watching him. I tend to agree with him, even when he talks negatively about Aaron Rodgers, because I'm not a person who believes that Aaron Rodgers is just perfect and he can do no wrong. So I want to be very clear, and there's a lot of videos we're going to be reacting to in the future down the line, because I want to go through the history, because at this point, Aaron Rodgers is gone. He's going to be a New York Jet. He won't be coming back until he actually wants to retire his number and go into the Packer Hall of Fame. Again, he's going to be a first-time ballot Hall of Famer. So, but I do want to go through our history. I do think it's important, so that people really get an understanding and appreciation for these players that have come and gone and the decisions that we've made. And yes, hindsight's 2020, but I was saying these things when it was right on our radar. I was saying a lot of these things when it was happening right before our eyes, and we just made a lot of bad decisions. And again, I do think that to blame for that would be the men upstairs, the Brian Gutekunsts, the Mark Murphys, the men who are in charge, who I don't think get enough pressure put on them. And I'm here to put that pressure on them. I really am. With great power comes great responsibility. A Marvel reference, but it applies today. When you have power, you have to be responsible. And there are consequences. And one of the major issues I think we have with our organization, as a fan, as a shareholder, is that we don't have a direct owner. It'd be easy to just kind of go, all right, man, our owner, he's just going to want to do whatever he wants. But our players can't talk to an owner. Our players can't interact with an owner. Our players can't get their way, so to speak. And the game is changing. And I do believe having an owner would really help. Hearing how the Jets acquired Aaron Rodgers and how he spoke to the owner of the New York Jets goes a long way, because I'm assuming that conversation went in some way where that owner was like, hey, man, we're going to do whatever we can to give you who you need, what you need, bolster the defense, bolster the offense. You let us know the kind of players you're interested in. We'll communicate with you. We'll get you included. I mean, that's what a player of Aaron Rodgers' caliber deserves. He garners that respect. We saw that with Tom Brady. And I think Aaron Rodgers is better than Tom Brady. Does he have more accolades? No. I don't know if anybody ever will. I just don't think what Tom Brady accomplished is ever going to be overcome. But I do believe that we see him wrong. We see him in the wrong light a lot because of the political things going on in society. And I think that's not warranted in sports. I used to, as a black man, I remember when Colin Kaepernick knelt, and I had mixed feelings. I felt like when he knelt, this was a waste of time, right? I understood what he was standing. I understood what he was kneeling for. I respected that. I honored that. But I felt like, bro, these cats ain't going to care about what you dealing with. Like, so why are you wasting your time? This is foolish, right? Racism is so difficult to prove because it just happens to you. It doesn't happen on a public stage. It's not recorded the majority of the time. So I've dealt with racism my entire life, and I do believe it's a real thing, and I don't doubt at all that it's in the NFL and it's everywhere. But what's the point trying to point the finger at someone who's misbehaving when it's really hard? It's very difficult to even catch them when they're misbehaving. It's just something that we have to deal with, right? It's like women who get catcalled and, disrespected and grabbed at a restaurant. That's very difficult to prove. Harassment occurs. We know it happens. We try our best to stop it from happening, but this whole world of just trying to get everybody to be on team stop the offenses is just, to me, is ridiculous. Doesn't mean that I don't want to see it stop, but we live in a fallen world, right? We're not going to get perfection while we're here on Earth. Doesn't mean we can't try, but I think there are some things that aren't worth the effort. And that's something that, you can't change people. You can only change yourself. So if anything, we should just push for that. So that, to me, kind of started what I think we're seeing here when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, that everything became very politicized. Everything became very, you have to make the right decisions because you're in the public eye. Now, I do think to an extent that does matter, right? But then there's consequences that will fall on an individual if they break the law. In this case, it was a personal choice with COVID and became way blown out of proportion. And I just don't think what happened to him was fair. And we don't need to talk about COVID and spread misinformation with the quotes, the air quotes that I'm miming over here. But he had his resources. He made his decisions. Whether I agree or disagree with him is irrelevant because it was his choice. It was his body, and he had the right to do what he needed to do. But I believe that's the motivation that has pushed this negative slant And it's made it really easy for him to be bashed, right? Not playing so well in a few games, the team not succeeding, going to the NFC Championship game multiple times, not getting over the hump. Then he makes these off-field decisions that are super polarizing, and it's just a beautiful combination for unnecessary criticism for a great quarterback. Someone I think that we're unfortunately not going to appreciate. I even think when it comes in history, I don't think we really appreciate how great Aaron Rodgers is and was, right? So this YouTube channel provides a small sample of the football analysis, while the Patreon videos are deeper and broader in scope. We're not going to go through those. You should join his Patreon if you're interested. The Patreon videos explore the nuance and subtlety of the NFL play design, QB play, and execution. In essence, the Patreon videos are NFL QB meetings. It's my hope that these videos are fun and help share football knowledge at the highest level. Ideally, the videos will improve your understanding of football, which is what I'm here to do. By sharing these videos, right? Not from me educating you, by using someone who's educated to share with you. And offensive execution. Also, I hope the videos increase your appreciation for the game. I've been watching him for many years now, and I appreciate the game much more. And it just so happens that a lot of his videos on Aaron Rodgers validates what I've been saying for many years, and I've believed that to be so because I've watched Aaron Rodgers prove it to me. Being a doubter of him and watching him change my mind because he was so great. To me, Aaron Rodgers is not as successful as a Michael Jordan, but his skill is Michael Jordan-esque, right? I don't think any athlete is better than Michael Jordan. And I don't even want to disrespect Michael Jordan by saying Aaron Rodgers is close, but because it's a different sport, different type of game. I do think Aaron Rodgers is Michael Jordan-esque because no one can throw the ball the way he does. No one. I know Patrick Mahomes is out there. He's not that great, in my opinion. He's great, but he's not that great compared to Aaron Rodgers. So let's get started, and we're going to go over the last Aaron Rodgers Green Bay start and what should the Jets expect. So like, subscribe, check out the QB School. I think this video, I just started watching a little bit of it, so there might be things in here that I disagree with or I'm not aware of because I'm reacting to this video. I watched maybe the first few minutes. We're going to go through the full 25 minutes, and I hope you enjoy this because I know he's going to bring quality to the conversation. I do believe that Aaron Rodgers was put in a very bad position this last season. He was thrown in the ringer with rookies. The fact that he even stayed, I honestly thought last year was going to be the year he left. Because who did he have to throw to, right? We already knew Randall Cobb he's getting long in the tooth, and I love Randall, but, he wasn't going to be consistently on the field. We've seen that. When he was playing with the Texans, he couldn't stay on the field regularly. And look how he flipped his career around for the last 2 seasons playing for the Packers. He was non-existent on the Texans, right? Despite the fact that he was injured, but he comes and plays for Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers is throwing him in the pigskin, and you see how he turns that around. I think that's incredible. I think what we need to realize is there's probably quite a bit of wide receivers and tight ends that are in the league that have great potential, but unfortunately they're surrounded with a cast or they have a QB that just can't throw the pigskin that well. So just imagine the names we would hear or wouldn't hear if they didn't have those great QBs or did have those great QBs throwing them the ball. So we underestimate how great the league is when it comes to the players, their skill level. And again, it's a lot of players that are contingent on others, right? How many QBs would be even better if they just had great offensive linemen? Right? I mean, there's so many things. That's what we need to understand when you watch the game of football. It's a team sport. And that's the reason why I'm tired of, I've spent, it's been well over a year since I've watched those talk shows because they're just a waste of time. They don't live in reality. You listen to them, the Joy Taylors and the Skip Baylesses and the Stephen A. Smiths and the Fox and the ESPN, And there are some guys and girls on there that really know what they're talking about. And then the majority of them don't know what the hell they're talking about. And they're just trying to get clicks. They're just trying to get, views. And, to me, it's sports, right? Like, why do we watch these shows that try to over romanticize the sport or create these crazy opinions just to draw people in? They're dumbing down the sport. They're watering it down. I don't think it's beneficial for the long term of our sport we love today, which is the NFL. So let's get into this video. Let's enjoy this. I'm going to take some time and I'm going to let them talk. I'll try not to stop as much as 25 minutes. I know if I nitpick on every single little thing, we'll make this an hour plus. But this is what I want to share with you because I want you to understand that, like, what I'm saying is not ridiculous. What I'm saying is valid. And I think we need more power to the voices of the players because, it's very easy for these players to go out there, play their heart out, give their best, and then we can easily sit back behind the scenes, criticize or not criticize, but we don't know the details. And this doesn't necessarily give us all of the details. What we're about to watch here does not share every single detail, but it gives us insight to someone who's been in those rooms, and there's a good chance that the details he's sharing will help us better understand what was going on the field. So before we get started, I just want you guys to know he has quite a bit of videos. Again, it's the QB school. He goes over quite a bit of quarterbacks. He's got a ton of videos, Tom Brady and Jimmy Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins, bump Kirk Cousins. I think my wife went to school with Kirk Cousins, though, so that's a cool little fun fact. And then he's got quite a bit of videos on Aaron Rodgers. I want to go through all of these. And then there's many other YouTubers I want to do reaction videos on to share what their analysis was when we were in the playoffs, when we lost those games, not making it to the playoffs, etc. So today we're going to go over the last Packer game for Aaron Rodgers, which his last throw ended in an interception, which was pretty sad. So I thought it would end in a touchdown, but unfortunately, that was his fate. So let's check this out. We'll blow it up, and I hope you enjoy.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the QB School. I am JT O'Sullivan. Today, we're looking at Aaron Rodgers. What can New York expect from his last start? What is Green Bay excited not to see anymore? We're looking at Aaron Rodgers versus the Lions, Week 18, last start as a Packer, locked in, fired up. Let's get it going. Welcome to the QB School. So before we dive into the video, quick reminder about the Quarterback School Patreon community. This group is the foundation, the bedrock of the channel. Not only is it a great and simple, easy, cheap way to support the channel, but you get even more Quarterback School content. So you dig the channel, you will love the Quarterback School Patreon community. Get over there, check it out. Link is in the video description. I appreciate it. As for this video, let's get into it. Aaron Rodgers, last start in Green Bay. What can the Jets expect? A little bit of this, I'm thinking. Aaron Rodgers can still play, y'all. He can make plays, but what's it going to look like? Right here, he's pissed. The back can't settle on a scramble. There's some details missing with some young guys. So there's kind of this cocktail of crazy where he can still absolutely create and do the things that Aaron Rodgers does. So the first part here is,
I just want to say, just Aaron Rodgers can play, guys. He can play. And I know this game was extremely disappointing. We had it right there. And I will say this, there is something that Aaron Rodgers does that really does frustrate me. This is a big criticism that I have of him, is that when players aren't playing well, he's not the rah-rah kind of leader where, it's okay, man. I got you. You could do it again. We'll run it back. And I don't, it's my criticism to him because I just think that, his mentality is you get paid, do your job. That's on the coach to work on you. When you come out here, we perform. I respect that. And I don't think he's wrong for being that way. And I do think behind the scenes, he probably does coach up, talk to the young guys. But this is the last game of the season potentially for them. He doesn't know they're going to lose this game. And when it rains, it pours. And I do see that Aaron just kind of, at times, just he gets frustrated. And he's just like, you know what, man? He kind of checks out in his body language. I'm not saying he checks out when it comes to his skill level and his play, but he checks out in his body language. And I think that's one of the things that hurts him when people criticize him, because it's, in my opinion, it's frustrating to always be out there with just kind of mediocre play. It's frustrating to be out there and not have the type of players you expect to be around you. You're a veteran. You've been playing for 17, 16 years, and you have this kind of play that is a result of missing a touchdown here. Like, it's uncalled for. You want veteran savvy players that understand the game. And I think that's the big thing with Aaron. Aaron has been telling you, here's why I have such bad body language at times when you watch me on the field. We don't surround our young guys with enough veterans to teach our young guys things to do situationally. It's not just running the route that you're supposed to run. There's tweaks and changes you need to make. And you're going to see that here. And I do think it's fair and unfair criticism, right? It's unfair criticism because, Tom Brady, he goes to the Tampa Bay Bucks. He gets surrounded by veterans. No one talks about the squad that Tom Brady had around him. That Bucks team was going like Jameis Winston the year before was threw like 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. He went 30 for 30. And that team was loaded. And if he didn't throw those 30 picks, they easily would have made it into the playoffs and they could have made some noise. So Jameis Winston held that team back. Tom Brady came in and just took it to the level where they belonged. Right? And then I'm sure Tom Brady's leadership had an impact on that team because he's always surrounded by excellence. Having a guy like that come into your locker room who's won so many championships with, of course, great defenses and great special teams. But again, having 6 rings going into that situation, it does something for the guys there. And then having the results that he had, being the first team to play at home in your Super Bowl and winning, I mean, that just seals the deal, right? That seals in his greatness as a player. But what is Aaron Rodgers working with? Is he working with veterans on defense, veterans on offense, savvy guys that know what they're doing? Do you know when we had veterans everywhere on the team, what happened? We won the Super Bowl. What did we do after that? We got rid of guys. We got younger. We didn't want to play the Clays. We didn't want to play Jordan. We couldn't give Jordy Nelson a $2, $3, $4 million contract. And look what happened. We could have squeezed a couple years out. Who knows? We might go to the NFC Championship game and still lose. We don't know. But this is what I'm talking about. Aaron's been saying this. We needed veterans. Remember, we had a corner that we drafted way back in the mid-2000s. Then he went to the San Diego Chargers, got paid. He was a corner that still, I forgot his name. He was fantastic. We had so many great players come and go that we just weren't willing to pay. And then we had great free agents that were available for us that we just weren't willing to pay. Green Bay just, you got to remember, if you are in rinky-dink Green Bay, Wisconsin, you have to give a free agent a reason to come there, and money solves a lot of problems. It can create problems, but we're talking about the decision-making of individuals, these young guys. Money can make things easy. Green Bay should be paying anybody and everybody, or when I say anybody, I mean any great player, all the money they want to come play for them. They really should. Because who's going to want to come to Green Bay now? If Jordan Love doesn't do anything, no one's going to come to Green Bay. Do you think these guys are going to want to re-up? Do you think the great players we have left are going to re-up? We locked in Jair Alexander. I don't think Jair should stay after the end of his contract. Why would you? I mean, unless he's just all about that money. He ain't going to win anything now. Hoping Jordan Love does something. So I just want to say that, like, watching this, you're going to see that, like, man, we really did a disservice to this man. And I'll be surprised if we're able to have a team that has something decent to put out on the field.
You know, potentially what the Jets can expect, Jets fans. For me, this is just stick. And so I'm thinking this is in the flat. And then to me, man-to-man, stick. So whether you come up right here, you've got two defenders. If it's man here, you would love for this stick runner to get some sort of rub on the guy who has the person in the backfield. So instead of just coming out here and running a route like you're on air and you're trying to win, to have a better understanding, which comes from playing together more, from having a deeper understanding of what you're being asked to do, that's the first part of it. And then the second part of it is just the back being able to settle in space. So up top, to me, the wide receiver 9 is trying to win as opposed to get a rub on 25. Go in there and... So no, it's not there. Now, we're on the move. Aaron Rodgers.
Now think about that. That was Randall Cobb. That was Randall Cobb. Even Randall Cobb made a mistake on that play. Can you blame Aaron Rodgers for that? No. I just want to point that out, why even if Randall Cobb makes that mistake, do you think 3 or 4 Randall Cobbs make that mistake? Do you think if we had Devontae Adams on the field, he wouldn't have been open? You see what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that veterans are infallible. It just means when you have veterans around, they've been around the block, they reinforce. If you have a bunch of young guys out there, it's the blind leading the blind. And then if there's just 1 or 2 veterans, then think about it. 1 or 2 veterans, they might not get it right every time, right? And then you need more eyes, you need more ears, you need more voices in the room that actually know what they're talking about, who've been there and done that. Having young coaches like Matt LaFleur, who hasn't won anything, that doesn't help. You need that old guy that comes in the room who's won. You need that guy who's like, hey, man, we're here to change things. We're no longer going to put this garbage out on the field. And look at that. You blame Aaron for that? Let's go. Let's keep going.
Rodgers creating outside the pocket. Potentially back in the day, maybe he tries to go Elway up and over. But right here, I like the decision. If the back just settles at all. So if he's got any understanding of space, so instead of running into a defender, right? Here's a defender, understanding the space. Just throttle your feet and fall off into the R. Because Aaron will find you. He's waiting for you to do that. Instead of drifting, getting covered. And again, it's a running back, okay, but this is 3rd down for a touchdown. It's there. This is Aaron doing everything he possibly can to get a touchdown scramble.
So you see that play, and your first instinct is to criticize Aaron. Why in the world would he throw the ball there? What's going on? And what is Aaron doing? He's throwing the ball where he belongs. He's not going to throw the ball to where it could be picked. Right? He's not throwing to Devontae Adams. If Devontae Adams is there, maybe he does make that decision. And honestly, if Devontae Adams is there, Devontae Adams falls into the R. But look at that. Dylan didn't know what he was doing. Hasn't been catching a ton of balls. Hasn't been included in the offense that much. This is probably one of the first years where he's really getting thrown the ball a lot. And look, he's getting taught a lesson in the final game of the season. What we don't know is the final game of the season, but it ends up being the final game of the season.
Got to be able to hook this up and then watch Aaron's reaction. He's pissed. He expected. So again, we're looking to our right first, stick. Now we're going to go create. Still got this in the bag. Fall off, just fall off, get a little bit of space. I just don't understand how you can keep drifting to a defender as opposed to just the quarterback is staring at you. Just stop. He's throwing you open with the throw. And you essentially have your eyes closed running into a defender. Tough one. Next one, really nice shake or post corner up top. So catch half field defender. make this thing work perfectly. It's wide ass open, NFL standards wise. Aaron can still drive the ball outside the numbers, easy. Great pass protection as well. Going full field read, so no to his right, our left, all the way across the field. So scheme-wise for me here, it really doesn't matter what's down here. If we're reading this 1 to the bottom of the screen, so this is 1. If that's not there, we're going to come up here and hit this shake. So post, corner, there it is. And so Aaron's obviously got the capacity to go full field read, so top of his drop, no down here, flip his feet, come up here and make like a double move throw outside the numbers. This is what it is. This is precision. This is Aaron Rodgers. He's been doing this for years. No, yes. And again, the spacing of it, outstanding. The accuracy, the precision, the arm talent, always been there. Watch the helmet. So no to our left, flip it around. Yes, great pass protection. Right up on his face, outstanding big chunk.
I want to say this, that like what people don't understand is Peyton Manning was the sheriff. Peyton Manning needed you to do your job, and if you didn't do your job, you were getting off the field. Aaron Rodgers didn't get that respect. Aaron Rodgers didn't get the respect. See, that's what Aaron Rodgers needed. He needed the respect of, hey, man, if you're going to put these guys on the field, put guys on the field that are going to respect the game. I'm out here orchestrating, putting things on the table, throwing passes no one's ever seen. And I believe he just didn't garner the respect that he deserved from the organization to surround him with pieces of individuals who knew how to play the game at an extremely high level. You see something like this, Peyton Manning was getting on these guys. What are you doing? That's not the play. I don't think Aaron Rodgers was as intelligent as Peyton Manning was. I still think Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers are two great quarterbacks, better than Tom Brady. But I know Peyton got his criticisms. He definitely did, especially playing against Tom Brady. But my point is, he didn't get he didn't get beat up as much as Aaron is getting beat up here. And the things that Aaron complains about or shows frustration with, that was a regular thing for Peyton Manning. But I think Peyton Manning garnered that respect because he was the sheriff. He was calling the plays. And I think Aaron Rodgers had the capabilities of being like a Peyton Manning. I still think he's better than Peyton Manning. I don't know how intelligent in comparison. I still think Peyton Manning's probably the smartest QB to ever live. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers got the respect that he deserved from the coaching staff and the organization because, I mean, you know, he was the most qualified man in the room when he was in those QB rooms, when he was with the coach. I mean, unless you're talking about Mike McCarthy, he won that with him. You know, what has Matt LaFleur done? You know, he's listening to the GM, Brian Gutekunst. What have you done to be telling him what to do? You were in scout team when we won that Super Bowl. What are you doing?
Next one, same exact type deal. So it's going to be a 1-2, quick little play action up top, and we're going to throw a deep out down here to the bottom. Now, not really anticipation, but again, working the full field. And the throw is good enough, a little inside, but a really nice job from Aaron Rodgers. Again, this is just plain quarterback at all.
Yeah, he didn't make a mistake. He's not infallible. He made a mistake. It was slightly in. The ball was still completed. He knows he could have done better on that. So we're not here to just say he can do no wrong. But look, he makes mistakes, but even his mistakes leads to a completion. Can you say that about a lot of other QBs in the NFL?
A Hall of Fame level for a long ass time. Full field read, play action, watch him go his right to left. So no, yes. Just that subtle little, oh, anybody can do it. No, yes. Flip your hips. Now he's going to let this thing go to his boy. And the throw is just a tick inside. So as opposed to leading him out closer to the shield, it's a little bit closer to the number. Doesn't matter. Still right up on his face. Now, I will say, to me, when I watch this video, there's a little bit of buddy ball. And what I mean by that is I think the drift post up top should probably get the ball. So when I'm saying drift post up top, I'm saying where he looks like he's trying to throw one here, to me, this looks open. This space looks open. And I would want, it's either his timing of his feet, so the actual play action of it. When he hits this, he's maybe too early, so it's not there yet. But regardless, let's pretend like this isn't there. Okay, so that's a hard no. Down here to the bottom, it's a really nice job of timing this thing up with this deep out. It's everything except the ball. So, I mean, I would say he would want that ball farther outside. He's able to get away with putting it right up on him because the timing is so great. So again, first, let's watch the drift post up top. You think it's open? You be the judge. Boom. You can see how he's almost off of him early. So yeah, he gets collisioned, but look at that space on top of the 40. I mean, that's open. That's wide open.
Now, my critique on this would be, why didn't Aaron Rodgers throw that ball? In my opinion, it's because Watson wasn't looking at him. I think there's an expectation that Aaron Rodgers has. He throws that ball. If it's Jordy Nelson, if it's James Jones, and I don't even want to mention his name, other wide receiver, right, who talk smack about him on Fox, he's looking at Aaron Rodgers at that point in time. I don't think Aaron Rodgers and Christian Watson developed the timing that they needed for Aaron to trust throwing that ball to him. So I think the reason why it's a quick read, move on, is because he knows Allen Lazard, and the chemistry he has with Allen Lazard is not Jordy Nelson-esque, but it's closer to Jordy Nelson-esque than it is for Christian Watson. How many times we've seen Aaron Rodgers throw a pass to Christian Watson and his eyes aren't even in the location they need to be for him to be aware of where the ball would be? I saw that all that last year. So I could see why even a wide open Christian Watson, which clearly he's wide open, you see that. I could see a wide open Christian Watson not being confident enough or skilled enough at this particular moment to keep his head on a swivel and be ready for that pass. Because, I mean, you think about that, in that split second, the ball's out and Christian Watson's not even looking. And I'm not saying he should be looking. I'm saying that he can't trust that Christian Watson's going to know where the ball is. But he could throw the ball to Allen Lazard with his back turned and know Allen Lazard's going to be ready for that pass. And that's what happened
in the league. So he gets off of it a little early. Okay, not the end of the world. Stays on time to number 2.
And notice,
hooks his boy up.
Notice, look at his head. Look at his
Big
head.
chunk.
He's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Here comes New York. There's a lot to like. He can still absolutely operate at a high level from within the pocket, drive the ball anywhere he wants, got great precision, accuracy.
And this is why I'm slightly concerned about how they're going to perform in New York, because he doesn't have the chemistry with these guys, right? I don't know if their athleticism and their greatness is sufficient enough, you know? Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Aaron Rodgers can be very particular about how things are done. And if players aren't playing the way they need to play, and I'm not saying, I mean, I don't even know all of the wide receivers on that team. I know they got Allen Lazard, and I would hate for them to just be throwing to Allen Lazard all day, because that's not going to win a championship for the New York Jets. But he's going to have to build that chemistry. And I mean, at this point, he's going part 2, right? I mean, those guys aren't rookies, so that's better. But you'd have to assume the offense they're going to run is going to be different. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going to be different. Aaron's going to be calling the shots. He has to be. So that's why I'm a little bit hesitant to go, you know what? Let me see if they bring more great players around Aaron Rodgers. They start picking up great wide receivers. They start picking up offensive linemen. They start loading up on defense. Then I think, you know what? There's a lot of great players there that even when they make mistakes, if Aaron gets the ball in these guys' hands, they're going to make plays. They're going to win. They're going to win a championship. But right now, Allen Lazard, and I guess the number 1 wide receiver, who I can't think of his name off the top of my head, it's like, yeah, is it enough yet? I mean, you have the owner's ear, but you need more. And you need more than just a bunch of rookies. And we know OBJ went to Baltimore already, so that's off the table.
See timing, rhythm to his game. Outstanding. Next one here, 3rd and 4. This is going to be a corner up top to the number 2. It's a beautiful stem from the tight end. Got outside leverage originally, jumps and gets inside leverage. Good enough ball from Aaron, put it right up on him, go get it. So watch the stem from the tight end on the right. He's got outside leverage, jumps outside, got him. Again, not perfect ball, but certainly good enough. And the timing of it, the rhythm of it, allows it to make up for not a perfect pass. So for me, I'm saying outside leverage. This defender is going to be outside of the stem of the corner to start. And they've got a middle field closed player right here. If I could learn how to make a circle. And then stem-wise here, as he pushes up with this outside defender, he's then going to jump to the outside. So kind of reset the stem. And the reason you want to do that is because you have an outbreaking route to this corner. So you don't want that defender outside of you when you're running a corner like this. You want him inside of you, so then you've got it. You've got all this room that you can work, and Aaron puts it right down on top of him. So again, just watch the art of this re-stem here from the tight end. Really nice job from anybody, let alone a tight end. No offense, tight ends. Nice hookup. Again, big chunk throw. And he makes it look easy. He being Aaron makes it look easy because the rhythm that he's in. So he's in this rhythm, hitch, hitch, hitch. There's someone, it's not a perfect pocket. I mean, there's people, it's collapsing on him. He can't really get through the throw. But how many times have we seen Aaron Rodgers? All he needs is just a sliver of space. He's got that torque. Whoop. Right up on his face. Outstanding. Another big chunk. Next one. Now, this is a weird play for me. This is a turnover-worthy play. This, to me, is not how you read this play either. Now, we're not in the Green Bay quarterback room, so maybe they read it different. I would say that the vast majority of the football world at a high level reads this play inside fade or some iteration of inside fade as a middle field closed beater. Now, it might be a little bit different if you don't get that true stick. So to me, this concept right here, now, first of all, you've got a running back doing it, but this inside fade is most often a middle field closed beater. It's usually paired with a locked hitch and a stick. And I think most people call that shock. Now, this play is a little bit different because this number 3, I think, is running a special or seam. So I understand why you potentially might be able to think you could beat a half field safety back here. They run this a few different times this game. They're both bad, in my opinion. But if you're going to throw this inside fade versus a half field safety, you better make sure you can drill it in that kind of honey hole spot. And the reason I think it's better usually with an outside fade here on this kind of like must outside release is because the spacing of it is wider and it happens faster. The inside fade takes longer. So this thing, it takes longer. It happens farther down the field. And now this half field safety can make this play. So it's just it's a design flaw for me, but it's not a one-off. It happens multiple times in this game. So first, the inside fade versus half field safety. Again, that throw is normally on the sideline, not halfway. You know, to me, that's splitting the difference between the numbers and the sideline. Normally, you see this hole shot, a lot of people call it, down here, right here. So that's the difference when the number 1 receiver hits that hole shot versus the number 2 receiver running like really inside.
So to me, this is on Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur and the coaching staff. Bad choice to throw the ball. Thank God it didn't get intercepted. And then the design that you clearly hear JT breaking down. Bad decision, bad play. And they called it multiple times. And again, I think the result of this is because I still think it comes down to Brian Gutekunst. Look who's on the field. Look who's running the plays. Look who Aaron Rodgers talks about running the plays every single, at the end of the game. We got to give it to number 33. We got to give it to number 30. We got to give it to our guys. We got to get it to our guys. If you're going to go into the playoffs throwing the ball to A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, you're going to lose. He's not Marshall Faulk. Like, let's stop acting like, Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones isn't a terrible running back, but, he's a speedy guy who can catch balls on the flat, maybe surprise you down the field, but he hasn't shown to be this prolific, catcher of the ball that like we can truly rely on. And that's another issue, right? Brian Gutekunst surrounding Aaron Rodgers with rookies so that when Aaron Rodgers does make a mistake, I mean, can you blame him? Truly? He's doing the best he could with all the guys that are out there. He's going to make a mistake. Everyone does. So, again, this is kind of why like I get annoyed when it's like, yeah, you want to blame him for that, which I do. I blame him and the coaching staff for this. But what are you giving Aaron Rodgers to work with? Why is Aaron Jones running this route? Like, if I'm playing Madden, you know what I'm doing? If I'm running this inside fade, you know what I'm running this inside fade with? Devontae Adams on the outside running a Hail Mary to the end zone. Now think about the coverage. Because if you double team Devontae Adams, which you know they're going to do, Aaron Jones is probably wide open with a linebacker covering him. So that's the things that I'm looking at, that I'm thinking about when I watch something like this. Not to excuse away, because I know that's what's going to happen. I know people are going to watch this and go, look at you. You're going to find any way to excuse Aaron Rodgers. No, that's not the case. My point is that it's a team sport. And there's blame to be for everyone around. But does the majority of the blame fall on Aaron when it comes to plays like this? In my opinion, no. And thank God it didn't end in an interception when it probably should have been picked. Who are you putting around him? Aaron Rodgers can't be relying on Aaron Jones for a play like this. And then he throws a bad ball and a bad play design. What are you doing, Matt LaFleur? Why'd you call this play multiple times? Why is this even in your playbook? Why is it designed this way?
Side fade, and now he's in this space, and now this half-field safety can make this play and can really play both. So that's the difference. That's when we're talking offensive architecture. This is something you probably won't see in New York. But it's worth acknowledging the fact that I think most people don't read it this way, but they obviously were, because they did it multiple times this game, and both of them could have been picks. Next one, 3rd and 7.
And honestly, if he gets some air on that, that's a touchdown. So it's definitely a bad throw by Aaron. I mean, you see Aaron Jones is behind the defender. He throws that ball up another yard in the air. The trajectory, Aaron Jones catches that potentially right in the end zone, right on the pylon. So, I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers doesn't get any blame, but I mean, you would have to say that 40% of it is on 40% of it is on Matt LaFleur. 60% of that is on Aaron Rodgers for such a bad throw. And then 100% collectively is on Brian Gutekunst for not giving him the players that he needs. Right? I know the math doesn't add up, but I'm just saying collectively, there's a hierarchy of this thing. When it comes to that play, you can't blame Brian Gutekunst for throwing the ball. You can't blame Brian Gutekunst for calling that, but you can blame Brian Gutekunst for hiring Matt LaFleur and not giving Aaron Rodgers the players that he needs. So that's what I mean. It's 60% Aaron, 40% Matt LaFleur, and then a whole nother scaling just goes, it's 100% on Brian Gutekunst and Mark Murphy. 50-50 for those guys. Probably more Brian Gutekunst than Mark Murphy.
Slant, bottom, miss. And this is a throw Aaron Rodgers makes in his sleep. Now, it's a half drop. I would say it's more of a miss than it is a drop. But still, this to me, Aaron Rodgers can do this all day, every day. In a blizzard. Yeah, it hits his hands. It's low. It's probably at his shins. He's wide open, or significantly open for slant standards in the league. 3rd and 7, that's a first down. That's a potentially 7-point swing. I think they missed the field goal here, so at least 3 points. Tough miss.
Yeah, definitely on Aaron, for sure. Have I seen him throw at the ankles like that before? Plenty of times. But I do think that's just a miss, 100%.
And so, how you make sense of this, not everybody's going to be perfect all the time. I just do think it's worth acknowledging the fact that the film, the end of the year, Aaron's disjointed. not quite as precise with some of these throws that you expect to be handoffs for Aaron Rodgers. Next one here. I love the pocket movement, the arm angle here. We're going to work the shallow cross to the number 1 up top. We kind of got to get off our launch points. We're going to climb up in the pocket, 7-step drop under center, time travel back in time. Really nice job. Watch Aaron climb this pocket, have someone right at his feet, hit his boy on the shallow. So 7-step drop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, boom. Get up in the pocket, arm angle, someone at his feet.
That's beautiful.
That is outstanding. Whoop.
And then you see him do something like that.
Okay, maybe not right on him, but damn close. Good enough ball. Again, just a little off-platform pocket movement. To me, this is what playing quarterback in the league looks like. Someone at your feet. You got to make a crazy throw on time, get it out, save the play. Up. Beautiful job. Aaron Rodgers, I think, has been doing that for, as long as I can remember, decade plus, being able to create from within the structure of the play. Get it to the number 1. Doesn't matter who's around him. Tight window, tight pocket, right on him. Nice play. Halftime, you dig the channel and you haven't already, please like, subscribe, hit the bell, get the notifications, let it wash over you. Easy way to support the channel. I appreciate it. Also, already mentioned the Quarterback School Patreon community. Get over there, become a member. We also have hats selling now. Link is in the video description. Again, the courses, as always, kind of the premium elite content available through the channel. If you love the Quarterback School YouTube channel, Patreon community, you will love the courses. By far the most in-depth content that I create. Got courses on all of my favorite topics, how to beat every coverage, tempos, RPOs, pass protection, even have an entire offense available over there. So if you're interested in any of those, check out the Quarterback School courses. And then finally, we have some free resources available, Pass Pro quiz, play calling tool, even a free quick game course. So interested in any and all of those resources, I get it. It's a lot. Check them all out. Let me know what you think. I appreciate the support. As for this video, let's get back to it. Next one, a go ball, dot, just simply a great catch. Absolutely outstanding throw, little play action, bottom of the screen. No window, the wide receiver getting squeezed to the sideline, drop it right down. Nice contested catch as well, but this is a better throw than it is a catch in my opinion. Now, he doesn't get a whole lot of help with this perimeter group as far as giving him space to throw these deep balls. That's not a lot of space for me. So normally, I know I've talked about this on the channel before. So if you ever go to an NFL practice, oftentimes teams will have red lines that are 5 yards from the sideline. And it's a landmark for wide receivers to be able to try to give that window to a quarterback. So if you run any type of vertical, you want to win. If you get pushed outside, you want to get back, stack that defender, and run up the red line so that the quarterback has this kind of window to drop it in. If you're at the red line, right? If you're right here, that window is pretty big, right? We like that window. If you're getting squeezed right here, that window is not very big. So the ball has to be that much better. You really have to drop it right down the line. So it's just one of those things where not getting helped on some of these deep balls, which makes the throws even more impressive for me. I mean, look at that throw. Right down. It's a great catch too. Don't get it twisted. But it could be a hell of a lot easier if you gave your quarterback more space to drop this thing in, especially with the tight split. I mean, look at the split. The split is 2 yards inside the numbers. Getting squeezed that far to the sideline. It's good coverage too, but this isn't DB school. Help us out. Regardless, Aaron Rodgers can still so precise. That's the thing that just jumps off the film. Even if he's disengaged, even if he comes out of whatever retreat you're talking about, or you don't like what he says, you don't have to like what he says, but you can appreciate the accuracy, the precision. Next one here, touchdown pass, play action, a little over. To me, this is buddy ball hooking up Lazard. I personally think 9 is probably more open and where the ball is designed to go. But again, you've probably heard me reference buddy ball, and that's because that's what I anticipate seeing in New York with this type of stuff. This play on over is usually designed to get the guy underneath the ball because you're getting kind of a natural rub. So what I mean by over is he's going to run an over. That's where the touchdown is. But then the ball's normally designed to go to the guy who goes second. So he goes under. So if he goes first, he's kind of setting the landmark. And then the guy you anticipate to get open is the guy who goes under that first one. And you can really see kind of, I think he puts his hand up even for a little mailbox here. This to me is a way easier throw. Now, maybe some teams I've been on have, if you go over, we'll go that one because it happens first, but not really. I mean, I can think of maybe one or two instances that ever happened just based on who it was. But just watch how this thing plays out. Lazard over the top, Watson underneath, mailbox. That's an easy throw down here to the bottom. Otherwise, you're negotiating the middle field player. Going to go up and around, DB type.
And this is why I say that I don't know about what's going on with the Jets because, if they keep their offensive weapons they have and just add Allen Lazard, I think he's right. I don't like the term buddy ball. I look at it as trust ball, right? I would change it into, does Aaron Rodgers trust you? Probably not, because you haven't proven yourself on the field. So, if you're dropping the ball, if you're not running your routes, he doesn't trust you, right? Again, I think Aaron Rodgers just needs and wants veterans around him. So it's not necessarily buddy ball. It's guys I've played with that I understand and they understand. We've gone through it, right? Allen Lazard is a guy who's gone through with Aaron. So Aaron trusts him. That's why he's in New York. Think about it. Aaron is helping him get paid. Allen Lazard's story. It's absolutely incredible. If you haven't checked it out, you should check it out. He's got an amazing story, but he's getting paid and he's got the ear of Aaron Rodgers. So I wouldn't call it buddy ball. I would call it trust ball. It's what have you done to prove that you can do it? I mean, every great QB has that guy that he can rely on. Davante Adams was that guy. And if we had another decent to great wide receiver on the field that could draw that type of attention, I think you would see a difference. Now, you want to say, okay, I remember that game against the San Francisco 49ers. We had Davante Adams out there, and Allen Lazard was there. And there was a play where Allen Lazard was wide open when we lost to them. But again, is Allen Lazard Davante Adams? Is Allen Lazard even slightly close to Davante Adams? No. So you see my point? That there's levels to this. If Aaron has to deal with these wide receivers on the field, then yeah, Allen Lazard becomes the guy. He has to because he has better trust with him. That doesn't mean Allen Lazard is the next coming of Davante Adams. But when you're talking about Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers and Allen Lazard, I mean, let's just put it this way. If you had Davante Adams, Donald Driver, Jordy Nelson, James Jones, Allen Lazard, unfortunately I have to mention his name, Greg Jennings, out on the field, how do you think that hierarchy's going? Think about that. Let's think about this. All of them in their prime. Who's getting the ball? Number one, I think it's a toss-up between Davante Adams and Jordy Nelson. I think Aaron Rodgers looks to Davante Adams first. Then he looks to Jordy Nelson second. And then at this point, I mean, Allen Lazard is almost last on this list. 100% he's last. I think at that point, then he looks at maybe Greg Jennings, James Jones, and I forgot who else I mentioned. But, I think it goes in that order. Then it's Allen Lazard. So that's what I mean. There's levels to this. There's levels. He's throwing to Jordy. He's throwing to Davante. And that's what I'm saying. If we had Jordy and Davante out on the field, then someone like Allen Lazard, he gets the running back. He gets the guy who's slow. He's wide open, and he becomes that safety pin. Even Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb gets the ball before Allen Lazard, in my opinion, in his heyday. So that's what I mean.
Almost undercuts it. Regardless, touchdown pass, Aaron can spin it, Aaron can drive the ball, Aaron can do all of those things. I just think it's worth acknowledging the buddy ball element that felt like it was in play this game, maybe more so than others. Next one here, 1st and 20. This is a turnover-worthy play and interception, really saved by a penalty, I think. I didn't really go back to look at the box score, but it sure looks like there's a penalty. Again, to me, this is that same concept versus a half-field player. The ball is just late. It's almost like Aaron plays it like he thinks he has a free play, and maybe he does. I personally think it's hands to the face on the left tackle here. on 79 versus the left tackle right there. That's hands to the face. You can see the umpire go to grab his flag right there, right on the right hash. But this ball is a kind of like a what the F ball. What are we doing, dog? We're just chucking this thing? That's not even close. That's punt return right. I mean, seriously, this right here, that looks like a punt return. Punt return right. You're welcome. My goodness. And again, it's the same concept. Look up top of the concept. It's inside fade, locked hitch. Now, at least here, he gets a little bit better spacing the back. I just don't know why it's so late from Aaron. So again, I don't necessarily love the concept, but at least now he gets wide. So you get this special here. And, you know, he's probably open here. The ball's just not on time. It's not late. It's almost like he's playing it like it's a free play. Maybe it is a free play, and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But wow, why are we throwing it so far down the field? What's he looking at? I mean, maybe the safety is turned on the inside, so he'd see how the safety is kind of turned his shoulders. I mean, he's so far out of whack, like he's turning and running this way that he almost has to baseball turn. So baseball turn to me is turning your back and going to get this interception. But I mean, just drive the ball right here. Don't lay that thing up way down here. It's just it's kind of an anti-Aaron Rodgers decision film throw. It's weird, right? Like he misses it by, I would say, close to 10 yards, over 5 yards. Yikes. Bad ball, bailed out by a penalty. So no harm done. But my goodness, just watch the timing of this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hitch, karaoke. Oh, baby. Yikes. This is not what you want to see show up, New York. Next one here. Dot up top. This is Aaron Rodgers to a T. And this is really kind of what I anticipate to see in New York. This is a handoff of a throw that just isn't hooked up. Either because the wide receiver is not ready. Maybe the DB makes a perfect play. I don't think he touches it, but maybe he does on the TV copy. This is Aaron Rodgers throwing an absolute seed. Now, someone has to catch it, though. That is a handoff. Oh, my God. That's a perfect throw. Look at it beat the DB. Watch the DB turn right there, and the ball's in his face.
You see what I'm saying, guys? This is this is outrageous, y'all. This is outrageous. I mean, I didn't say anything on the last play because I think it's all speculation. How many times have we seen Aaron Rodgers just chalk the ball up there? Either when it didn't matter and it's the last play, whatever, throw it up. This guy doesn't throw picks. He doesn't throw interceptions. I mean, come on. I think he threw 12 last year, and that might be the most, if not tied for most, or, you know, that he's ever thrown in a season. This guy averages like 4 or 5 interceptions a season. So, you know, and I'm not surprised that he threw quite a bit with a bunch of rookies out there. So again, I lean back on that. Will Aaron be able to take the Jets to the promised land this season? I don't know, man. I think he'd have a better chance if he had a second year with Christian Watson and Dobbs and Alan Lazard, and then maybe if somehow they brought back Devontae Adams, that would be fantastic to see. Because Christian Watson and Dobbs showed some promise. They just got to catch the ball. But you tend to think another year getting dots thrown to you from Aaron Rodgers would really help. But, man, this was a mistake-ridden football game, and it made sense why we lost. Look where he's throwing the ball.
Amazing throw. But can't catch it for him. And so this is where his guys that he's playing with are going to have to get on his level. This is their Aaron Rodgers level. Look at the rhythm that he's playing with his base. Catch, 2-step, 1-2, on him, handoff. Oh my God. Put it on a string. Must catch. This is MVP Aaron. And he can certainly do this. And I tell you what, man, I don't know if I would want to play against a pissed off Aaron Rodgers very often. Last one here, though. Last pass as a Packer, bizarrely. 3rd and 10, interception. He tries to look off the middle field player, it just gets floated a little bit, which is a little bizarre to say. Now the wide receiver, again, to me, gets squeezed, but Aaron's looking to the left, come back to the right. Now maybe his hand gets hit a little bit, and we'll talk about the pass pro of it.
100%.
This is kind of a sad final
100%. I mean, his hand gets hit. You could see the trajectory of the ball, where it was going. I don't think that ball gets picked if he doesn't get hit. There's a lot of elements in the game that we just don't understand, and it sucks that this last play is an interception for Aaron Rodgers. But think about it. I mean, it's fitting. You don't surround me with the players I need, and if I'm not able to, play perfectly and have the perfect protection and you run the perfect route, the mistakes happen. Again, you watch this and can you blame Aaron? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. The mistakes that he made in this game, I mean, some of the mistakes he made in this game resulted still in completions. Other mistakes he made didn't even penalize them. I don't think this pass is a mistake because he gets hit. So you don't know where the ball was going. Maybe he's just throwing it out of bounds. So, and I think he was just giving this guy a chance. Again, Randall Cobb was never the fastest guy on the field, and he just got back from an injury when he played this game. So he's throwing it up to Allen Lazard, seeing what he can do, and his hand gets hit. Things happen. I don't blame him for that. I mean, let's talk about this. Tom Brady has played many playoff games where he's been atrocious. He throws 3 interceptions. He has a terrible passer rating, and they still win. I don't think Aaron Rodgers plays terrible to where they should have lost this game. Did he throw 3 picks? So I do think offensively we stalled, but should we expect Aaron Rodgers to put up 30, 40 points every single game? I think that's unrealistic. Very unrealistic, especially when you're surrounded by rookies. So let's finish this video up and then put it to a close on this podcast.
And it's a bizarre how many great quarterbacks have their final throw picked off. But, there's middle field safety. So we've shown this before here.
It's a definition of not giving him enough help.
Press. All we're going to ask here is you got to win best release, and you got to give us a window. What you don't want to do is you don't want to get squeezed to the sideline so that you've got no chance to throw it. That's what you don't want. So we'll talk pass pro from behind.
And actually, again, look, I saw it was Allen Lazard. This was Christian Watson.
Inside, but there's no window to throw it. The guy's running up the side hash. Got no chance. It's 3rd and 10. You got to try something. But, man, you can't let that middle field player. That middle field player is the quarterbacks.
Look at this. Free.
Now, pass pro wise, what's going on here?
Look at this. A.J. Dillon.
If I had to guess, 6-person protection. So we've got the 5 and the back, and then it's like 6.5 because it sure looks like he's chipping here, the tight end. So he's going to chip, and then he's going to go out. When he goes out, it looks like 5 has him in coverage. So it's 6-on-6, right? We've got 4 down, 2 backer types. Well, the center is going somewhere. So wherever the center is going, the back probably has the other one. Okay, so let's assume the center goes this way. I don't know which way the center goes. Well, if the center goes that way, it's these 3 for these 3, right? And then the back would be probably dueling here 1 to here 2. And if both came, you'd have to be hot. But somebody has to block Thor. You can't allow him to just run through the A or the B gap. Watch the center. So the center goes right. 28 coming across. It sure looks like he's going to pick up the cross dog. He just doesn't. This is 3rd and 10, the last pass of the game,
and
y'all.
A.J. Dillon is doing
season,
what?
Last pass of Aaron Rodgers' career.
He's not blocking anybody. Look at this.
What are we doing?
Definition, no help. Let's go back. Let's go back. This is like definition of
cross dog.
No help. Look at this. No help. Gap wide open. A.J. Dillon looking to block. Who? Who are you looking to block? There's no one there. There's a guy right to your right coming right in. Aaron Rodgers can't move to his left. The only thing I think he could potentially do is move to his right, but he moves to his right. The defender gets off of 76. puts him in a better position to sack Aaron Rodgers. So it makes no sense. Aaron just has to throw the ball up, which is what you see here. No help. Christian Watson isn't helping. Dylan isn't helping. And, I mean, I can't really blame Dylan here. I just think that the play calling, the schemes, a lot of things that just didn't go in these guys' favor. That's Matt LaFleur. That's, a little A.J. Dillon, right? I mean, I don't 100% blame him. That's not something he's regularly doing. So it is what it is. It's unfortunate.
He just doesn't. This is 3rd and 10, the last pass of the game, y'all. Last pass of the season, last pass of Aaron Rodgers' career, and we can't block the mic? What are we doing? I mean, good luck making that throw with that glorious hair coming at you. I mean, it certainly impacts the throw. Now it's a pick. Again, I can't overstate how important the running back is in pass protection. 3rd down. It's a disaster right here. So that is a wrap. Aaron Rodgers' last start for the Packers. Tough L. Really a few too many non-Aaron-ish throws, if I'm being honest. A little kind of loose cavalier with the ball that you don't necessarily think of or associate with Aaron Rodgers. Kind of some weird throws, but there's also some kind of like supporting cast meltdowns and kind of just not good enough across the board as a holistic unit. That being said, there are still some Aaron Rodgers-ish throws that he just is so precise, so accurate, so elite and consistent with his ball control. It's just kind of enjoying to watch. It really is, especially after I've watched so many college guys recently. It's nice to go back to see just the elite of the elite with the ball placement, the consistency, the accuracy, the timing, the rhythm, the bass, the torque that he plays with. It really is as good as it gets, and it's been that way for a long time. I personally would be really excited if Aaron Rodgers was my new quarterback, just with the level that he can bring to any organization. Now, the dude's a unique dude, and that's part of it. Lots of people are unique dudes. But, man, a pissed off Aaron Rodgers, someone who's got something to prove, whether it's for a year, a few years, I think it's pretty exciting. We'll see what it looks like going forward for the Jets. I'm fascinated to see what they look like offensively, fascinated to see what the pack looks like offensively without him as well. So lots of different moving parts. Fired up to see what it looks like. Thank you so much for hanging to the end. I will see you next time. Have a good one. Hi, everybody. Welcome.
As you can see, I think he said it pretty clean and very plainly. Aaron Rodgers still got it. He has to even use his own verbiage and say he wasn't doing, there was a few Aaron Rodgers-esque throws, but I mean, again, like, you're playing with that caliber of cast around you. Sometimes you just chalk it up. That was something Brett Favre did regularly. At times it would work out. And a lot of times it did not. So, again, this is why I don't blame him for that, right? He's done, to me, the sins he's committed don't outweigh the greatness and the upstanding quarterback play that he's portrayed. That's why I don't blame Aaron. Doesn't mean I'm never mad at him. Doesn't mean that I don't ever, get disappointed at decisions he's made. He's definitely lost us games before in the past, but he's won us the majority of the games that we've won, if not all of them. Very rarely we see a kick that wins the game, or a run back on special teams, or a fumble, or a block, or an interception. It's most of the time Aaron Rodgers putting us in a prime position to win the game, and we just so far ahead the defense can't do anything, the offense can't do enough with the amount of time left on the clock. So, again, we're going to do a lot of these like video podcasts or react, because I'm just going to continually drive this home. I'm not just making claims. I'm not just making statements. I'm not sitting here trying to quote unquote spread misinformation. We're here about them facts, boss. And we're going to show people exactly what we're talking about. We're using XQBs, 11 years in the league, 11 different teams, probably more years plus. All right, I'm assuming he played for 11 teams. He had to play at least 11 years. Suck if he just transferred from team to team. But as you can see, he's still great. He still got it. There's some more we're going to discuss about this in the future. And I appreciate you again joining me on Just Another Cheesehead podcast. I'm the Lemesis. I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, do the things you're supposed to do. As always, if you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, you should get to know him. It'll be the best decision you've ever made in your life. Look up the sinner's prayer, salvation prayer. Just pray to him right now where you are and ask him to come into your heart. And he wants to get to know you. It's your choice. It will be the best decision you've ever made. Thank you so much for your time. Peace, love, and hap. God bless.